Oh, perfect. So welcome to this roundtable, this masterclass roundtable mindset call, whatever you want to call it. For me today is special. You know, we have not only a guest today, but somebody that is really instrumental, was and obviously is instrumental for my life. And obviously, before we jump in, I thought what I was gonna say for a long time today. And we had Massimo before in the call. We had him talking about running, about the benefit of running, as one of these best thing that he likes to do cardio, at least in the past, it was running. And so today, I decided to invite him because I said, now that we're getting a new tight group, a better, almost like a even more committed than we used to have group for ladies. This is the time to observe patterns. And I always observe pattern that one of the pattern comes up all the time is this as humans, inability to do the things that we know we need to do. And obviously what I said, how can I just, we did so many roundtables. We did about believing yourself, about changing your identity. And I said, how can we even get this better? How can I show people, instead of saying what to do, show what to do? And I said, there is no better guy than Massimo, because in the past, we hear this in business all the time. Do you rather hear an advice for somebody that has read 700 books or done 700 deals? And obviously it's logical. The answer is like, there is no substitute for experience. And obviously here today, we have somebody that not only helped me in the past, because as I said multiple times, and some of you know specifically what I'm talking about, my journey wasn't always easy. I was not all the time confident like I am right now. I'm talking into a screen, talking to you, confidence going out, confidence in my own body. It was time that I was wearing the same shirt I'm wearing now. I was so conditioned about people watching me, about feeling really bad inside my body. And this was even before I went through the United States. And Massimo and myself know each other for a long time, ever since I started my journey inside the gyms. And one time, we had, like, it was a client inside the gym. And then we start, talking, and like I really saw right away the value that somebody like that could give to me. And the one thing that we used to do a lot in the past, as I was so apprehensive about going out, even before I left for United States, going out with girls. And every time I did fell for a girl, sometimes, it wasn't always nice, because at the end of the day, it was like I was very insecure. And I was asked Massimo here for advice all the time. And I said, Massimo, in your opinion, what should I do? How should I take this? Whether it was for a private situation, whether it was for something specifically. And the one thing that the pattern that I saw all the time was, I was really looking for an answer. I was looking to be saved all the time. Much like some of you before coming into the program, some of you watching the replay in this group, which I've been begging yourself to come in to calls, especially if you're not in the program yet, come and experience this. You're looking to be saved, and I was looking to be saved, and I said, Mas, what should I do? And what the pattern he used to tell me all the time, it was like, he was answering my question, giving me an answer. Try to kind of open myself up. And I didn't see the value in the beginning, because I was like, it felt really good, but it's like after an hour or two, I was like, now I know as much as I knew before. I don't really have an answer. But that allowed me to learn how to coach. That allowed me to build self-esteem. That allowed me to build confidence. And fast forward, probably a good 20 years now, because now we've been knowing each other for probably 30 years. Before I went to US, this guy has been instrumental when I felt like I needed an advice, when I felt like I needed support. But his extreme ability to be able to do something different was his own journey. Like his own journey is like, when I met him, it's like, he was not an executive, but he was, even now, I'm not really clear of what he was doing. I know it was a very high-tech position, a very high-pressure position, one of the biggest companies, pharma companies in Switzerland. And, he was, of course, working a lot, very high stress position, very well compensated. And I remember like being outside here in our porch one time in dinner, me and my mom and him, talking about the fact that he was going to change his career midway. And he said, I think I'm going to, you get to know Massimo right now. It's so big on giving out to people, on helping people. And he said, I'm going to give a huge part of this to charity. And I say, Max, why would you do that? What about yourself? And he said, one thing I never forget, like, God gave me the ability that somebody else won't. And so I need to help them. Yeah. And the second thing, he gave me also the ability to do this thing again. And one thing I remember is like, he went on, and it's like, I'm gonna do it, be a math teacher now. This is what I want to do. I think that fulfills me much more than whatever I'm doing. And you know, probably he's gonna correct me maybe, but late 40s, maybe 50s already. And it's like most people will not change their career, they will not give up things that they were doing for security, for safety. And he said, it doesn't matter, I need to be fulfilled. And this is like, okay, this is all good and dandy, because realistically, like, some people do that, yeah. But doing that despite adversity, like most of you probably know what fibromyalgia is. Fibromyalgia is something probably I cannot even imagine, but Max here, he did 10 plus operation for it, and he was running in between that, and running, like, I'm not talking 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers per day, stuff like that. Something that I don't necessarily do at the moment. But keeping up, like, this is the nutshell, what I wanted to touch on today. How can somebody see a vision, going for that vision, putting a plan together for the vision, doing that despite sickness, adversities, things that everybody experiences, no time, family, and how can you do that day in and day out when it becomes difficult? And it's no question to me that we are here today, and I know it's very modest, it's not going to say that's true. We are here in presence of an outlier. This is not something that a regular person is so easily able to do. Yet, we learn that sometimes we have so many examples here. We have Dori, we have Cecilia, we have recently now Bianca, that day in and day out, you put in the work, you get results if you just believe on yourself, and you get to do the things that you need to do. And this is basically how I wanted to frame this call. Without any doubt, a game changer for me in my own journey. And of course, a difference maker, not only for me, but for so many people already that I see in person. And the way that I wanted to frame this is like with a question of Claudia that is not here. And I said, I'm going to ask this question for you, because this is going to pretty much answer probably the whole masterclass. How can somebody do what you're doing in adversities, when you're not motivated, when you're not feel like something is not going to work, as you have probably some doubts as well? Is it spiritual? Is it mental? Is it like some sort of framework strategy that you have in your mind? I want to stop here, and I want to open the floor for Massimo, a truly, really, for me, I cannot say that enough, a mentor. And again, hopefully it gives you something today as well as it did for me. Massimo, maestro, the floor is yours. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you talk.
Yeah, so I can only say thanks for this extremely generous presentation. I'm actually embarrassed, you know. I'm sorry, Nina, La Miss, Bianca, Cecilia, and Marcella for this overwhelming presentation. Not even a president would be welcome so much. And so just please excuse Jeremy for having underlined so much my successes. I had also many failures, you know. And sometimes from failures, we learn even more. But I will stay on what Jerry called me here for. And the very first thing I would like to say is if I had to talk about Jerry's achievement, we would spend hours. So I will say nothing, because otherwise I start talking about what Jerry achieved. You have no ideas. You are his pupils, his disciples, his trainees, and you have no ideas what this guy actually went through. So I will say nothing. Otherwise, I will talk just about him. So I will restrict myself to some examples and some of the things I've learned in this very long journey. What I could tell you is I could start from when I was young. When I was around 30. When I was 30, I was senior manager for one of the strongest consultancy company in Europe. I was the expert in Europe for this business intelligence, and I was very well recognized in my business community. I had a beautiful friends. I used to live in Milan. We would go to doing kayak. We would go to the sea. I had female friends. I was recognized by friends. But then I had a vision. My vision was that Europe was not my land, because I wanted to live in a land where people would work together, would work for the community, and where people would respect nature and would work as one group. So I said, where is this land? I pick up on the globe New Zealand. I had never been to New Zealand, you see. I had been working in Europe, US, and that was all. So I said, well, I want to spend my life in New Zealand. And that was February 96. I said, by the summer of 96, I want to be in New Zealand. So I did what Jerry has taught you. I start from the final objectives. I said, I need a job, first of all. To get a job in New Zealand, how can I do it? Well, that time there was the web that was starting. I said, okay, I will target 360 degrees all the headhunters in New Zealand, and I will focus on them. This will be my job for the next 4 months. So I did this remotely. By the summer, I was ready to go to New Zealand to have some job interviews. I had already some job interviews on the phone, and I had already planned my exit from my job. So starting with the final objectives, I walked backward. The intermediate objectives said, well, to go to New Zealand, I need to find a job. To find a job, I need to get in touch with the headhunter. To get in touch with the headhunter, I have to have the right CV. But at the same time, I have to resign from my place. If I want to resign successfully from my employer, I have to work very well in these months. So they will write for me a very good reference letter. But I also have to make sure that I'm not indispensable. There is somebody else who could take my place. So I said, okay, I have 4 months to maneuver in a way that somebody will flank me, I will instruct him, and then when I will say, look, boss, I want to resign, but this man is ready to take my place, they will be happy to let me go. They will be happy to write the right reference letter for me. And then I will start my campaign for a job hunting in New Zealand. So September 96, I had a job as a chief planning of the digital services in the NZ banking group. It was a huge group. And now you would say, well, that was, what a great achievement. No, that was just the beginning. Because I moved to New Zealand, I knew nobody there. And that time, New Zealand was a land of English, Welsh, Scottish. There were just English people with their own language, you know. I was used to American English. And I couldn't understand one word of what they were saying, you know, because it was like speaking dialect, you know. So I remember I was in these managers' meetings and I was so stressed, you know. I was so stressed. I had no friends. I had lost all my friends, my female and male friends. And I was far from my mountains, far from my habits. And I said, well, I will not go out one Sunday until I don't have control of the situation. So for the very first 3 months, I worked night and day in the bank until I wasn't in control. After 3 months, I went out for the very first Sunday. I went out, I visited the city, I looked at the sea, it was beautiful, you know. Because I wanted it, you know, I wanted it. I couldn't go back. I couldn't say, well, it's too hard for me because it's too steep. I said, okay, it is too steep. I'm not ready for this steepness. Okay, I will prepare myself. I stand here and study the situation. And I will do whatever is necessary to do because I want to get there. I want a life in New Zealand with friends, blonde female New Zealand with a dog, a white house. This is my dream. This was my dream. And I said, but I cannot have those things if I don't have a solid work. What do? I go to a girl and say, well, I'm a very romantic person. I can give you a beautiful life. And she will tell me, with what money? I have to have a job. I cannot pretend to get there as a beggar, you know. So I said, first, I'll fix this. So for this reason, I resisted for 3 months. People, they would, Friday afternoon, they would say, Massimo, would you join us for a beer? Say, no, I can't. Saturday, would you come with us to the seaside? You can have a barbecue with us. We go with the kite. I said, sorry, I can't. Sunday, we go to the mountains. Come with us. I said, no, I can't. And this I did it for 3 months because I wanted to get up there in this beautiful imaginary place that I had in my mind. After 3 months, I was ready. I was in control in my position. It was summer, it was Christmas. It was beautiful, clear blue, there, sky, green ocean, these beautiful white houses on this blue ocean. And then I said, now I have to find a girl. So I said, where do I find my right girl? I have to go to the Alpine Club. So I went to the Alpine Club meeting where there are all these people good with the mountains. Mainly they were male, you know. So I look around. I saw a beautiful girl dressing a yellow dress. And I said, she is so beautiful. I have to get to know her. So I popped down there, said, look, I'm Massimo, and I saw you. You're like a dream for me. I just wanted to know your name, and sorry if I'm so direct. And she was so nice, you know. So we started going out together, and for me, it was a dream. I had this Irish girl. She was very much into nature. She loved the sea, the animals. She loved to walk in the bush. She loved the cuisine and the things. So I had everything. But then, after a few months, I said, as Jerry properly said, I said, Massimo, explain me something. Did you come to this world to do this, to have a beautiful life with a nice house, whatever? Or did you come to help people that they don't have the things that you have? And this is a very bad question to ask yourself because you already know the question, the answer. So I said, well, no, he's right. I have been given by God some gift. So I'm very good in thinking and I can put this thinking in good use in making money in these large corporates. But there are people that they do what they would like to do. These people that they help people in the third world. But I'm not good. So I said, what is it that I'm good at? I'm good in talking to people, in helping them by talking. So I said, okay, I resign from the bank. I will start a career in philosophy. So I went to the university. I said, look, I want to get a PhD in philosophy. And I said, well, first you have to have a master a bachelor in philosophy. I said, I'm already ready. Give me an exam. Take an examination. I can do everything. I said, oh, that's ridiculous. I said, okay, try me. So there was this group of professors, because I had studied philosophy for many years by myself. I passed their examination and they enrolled me in this PhD in philosophy. In that moment, I had no money. I left a position as a senior manager in a bank with a beautiful perspective. And I left it because I felt that was not good enough, was not what I was supposed to do. So I went back to the university. There were young people. I was already 37. My family in Europe, they said, you are crazy, my God. No, sorry. Actually, I didn't even left senior manager in the bank. At that time, I was chief information officer of the intelligence services of New Zealand Customs, because I had already moved in another job. So I was very respected by the community in New Zealand. You know, I would go to the port, the harbor. There were these large boats coming from the ocean. They were laying satellites, cables, and launching satellites. I would come on board and they would say, customs on board. Everybody would come there, would receive me, all these things. So I had a very enjoyable position, but was not what I felt I had to do. So I had to restart from zero, my friends. I had to restart from zero, you know. And I was running in the night, studying in the day, and I went overweight. I went overweight by 10 kilos. So it was enormous for me, 10 kilos, something unthinkable. And then I said, how can I get rid of these 10 kilos, you know? Okay, so I imagine a special travel in my mind. I draw on the wall a staircase. I said, day number 1, day number 2, day number 3. And I said, I give myself 90 days to get off these 10 kilos. And I imagined every day I make a piece of, a few kilometers of the road, the land leads me from Milan to the beautiful mountains in St. Moritz in Switzerland. And there in St. Moritz, there is a beautiful woman waiting for me. So I know that if I don't stick on my plan, I will fall back into this horrible industrial city. This was my imagination. I was in New Zealand. So I got rid of these 10 kilos. And I exercised every day. I kept this thing in my mind. Then I was ready, and then I decided to get back to Europe. And I got back in Switzerland. I had no job, no money. And I did some job interviews, and they said, well, we give you 200,000 Swiss francs per year if you join this company. It was called Boss Lab. And so I said, okay, that's fine, because with that money, I can help people that they don't have money. At the same time, for me, it's a nice job. So I start again when I was 38. And then, as Jerry said, during this many years in Switzerland, I got sick, you know, because these type of jobs were very challenging. I had to do things that I didn't want to do, very contrary to my ethics. And I was exercising every day, because when you've got these very stressful jobs, you get inside yourself very bad negative emotions during the day. So when you go out in the night, if you go to the sofa or you go to the gym, these bad emotions stay inside yourself. So for me, was running that would help me. I would run in the dark, and these bad emotions would get out. And by the time I was back home, I was very relaxed. I could eat my own nice things, and then I could sleep well. But it was too much for me. So I got, with many years of this life, I got this fibromyalgia stuff, you know. That was something that came up at the very end. I had many, many conditions, very bad, and people wouldn't understand what they were. Then eventually one doctor said, these are not many illnesses, it's just one illness. It's called fibromyalgia. So I said, okay, what do I have to do? He said, well, there is nothing you can do. You will get, you will become disabled, what do you say in English? Invalid, I can't remember, in handicapped. You know. And of course I said, well, this is what you say. And so I started looking for a cure, you know. I found some people, some doctors in Zug, they were doing experiments. I went there, I said, I want to do this surgery. I had these surgeries. They didn't actually solve my issues. But then I was keep working out, because when you look after your body, when you go out in nature, you go out even in a park, you don't need to go to Nepal. It is enough to be in a park, in a city park. And you start moving your body. Maybe if you can jog, it is even better. When you do that, from your mind, you get back into your heart, you get back into your body. Many things, they exist only in our mind. If somebody does something wrong to you, it is up there in your mind. It is not in your body. So when you exercise, you are out there, you are distracted from the thoughts of your mind. You start seeing the tree. So you see the green, you see the force of life in those trees. You see the flowers. You smile to a person and this person smiles back to you. This person tells you something and this makes you feel alive. You feel all those things that are actually just in your mind, you have confused them with the world. They are not the world. It is your ideas about the world. These things, they go in the background. And sometimes you ask yourself, what was my problem? I can't even remember it, So this combination of going back into your body, into your physical soul, and interacting in a very light way with people, best people you don't know. Because if you know a person, you feel you are entitled to start talking about your problems. And this is very bad for us. If you don't know a person, it's some kind that you bump into, you don't talk about your problems. You talk about something nice you want to tell him. My strategy is always, when I meet a person that I don't know, my strategy is always looking at this person and say, what can I tell to this person that makes good to him or to her? And I always find it, my friends. I have never found a person that by looking at him or her, I can't find something nice to say if you want. So when I see a person, I may say, oh, lady, you've got a beautiful dress. Or if he's a man, I say, man, you've got broad shoulders. You look very healthy. Or this is a nice shirt. Where did you buy it? I would like to have a nice shirt as you have it. But maybe my body's not good enough for that shirt. By doing this, you create beautiful energy. Because first, you create beautiful energy in yourself. Because if you force yourself to look, to find, to seek something beautiful in the other person, all of your thoughts from this side gets oriented to this side, the good side. So you are forced to thinking about beautiful things, positive things. At the very moment I see this person and I say, what a nice hair you have, young man. In that very moment, he is infected by this good. This goodness infects him because he doesn't expect a stranger to tell something nice to him that maybe he hasn't even thought about it. So because he starts feeling better, you feel his goodness. You feel his being well. And because you feel he's being well, you feel even more better now. So you've got new ideas. He smiles, you smile back. And in that very moment, you establish a bridge, a beautiful bridge, very simple, very superficial, not of the mind, but very natural. So to get back to the thing, when your mind has taken over your existence, go out, go back into your physical body. Possibly if you can jog, or do some movement, dance, something, climb, in a way that your mind goes back into your physical body. if you have a chance to see another human being, well, target him or her, and say, what can I say? What can I say to this person coming over that will make him or her feel good? You will see that you will become so good at finding the right things. And then you will find that when you walk down in the street, magically, people become friends for you because you are there to be a friend for them. People feel this. People feel this because all of us, we have lost this intimacy, simple, natural intimacy. And this will give you such a joy. You will say goodbye to this person. You will start jogging and you will feel lighter because you will feel that you made that person feel good. This will make you feel even better. You will say, how beautiful is life. You will say this. And once you get used to it, sooner or later, you will start talking to everybody because everybody will know you. And people will learn from you. They will do the same. They will do the same. Also, when you go out with your body, before you start running, if you are not too stressed out, that you can allow to walk for 2 or 3 minutes. Taste with your foot. Taste with your foot the ground. You put the foot slowly on the ground and taste the earth with your foot. You will feel the power of your body. You will feel the earth as if it were elastic. You will feel the hips of your body, and you will feel that your thorax, your torso will expand because you will start breathing deeply. Because by touching the ground with your feet, you will get in your lungs a huge amount of air because it's the earth that gets back to your body, the same matter. So this is what I do, you see, when I'm in difficulties. I go out, I go back into my body. If I'm very nervous, I start running. And after a while, I feel more relaxed. Then I can go into this walking meditation. And if I have a chance to see people, even if I don't want, because my friends, many times I really don't want to talk to anybody. I'm so upset with people that they upset me at work. I don't want to talk to anybody. And why is that? I don't want to talk to anybody because I want to stay inside my mind to continuously torment myself with the bad things that happened. You see how works our mind? So, because I realize this, I can observe this. I say, okay, Massimo, now you talk to that person. I don't care what you say. So I say myself, Massimo, now you talk to that person, you say something good to that person. Then I answer myself, well, I don't have anything to say good to that person. I said, you have to find it because this person is 5 meters from you. And now you have to say something. And then I force myself, I find it. In that very moment, all this rubbish that was in my mind goes away because I have to be present to that person. I want to say something good. I want to say something good. So I have to forget about my bloody problems, because I want to say something good to this person. And I want it. I want it because I know first is right. And second is what I need, because I need to get rid of this rubbish that is in my mind, this rubbish of recurring negative thoughts or about things that happened at work, or I don't know, with our partner or whatever. So this brings me, my friends, to the key point. Many times we say, well, you know, I keep thinking about this stuff, and this thought torments me. I have these emotions, they torment me. And we say, you know, because that person did that, said that, or I can't do this. I have failed in this. Okay. So my friends, the situation here is we need to get in control. Rather than passively thinking what we happen to think, rather than passively thinking what we happen to think, we want to decide what thoughts we leave room in our mind and what thoughts we don't want to have in our mind. This is the key to control our life. If I realize that these thoughts about this colleague that has misappropriated my inventions and she's selling my inventions as hers and taking my academic position unfairly. If I realize that this thought leads me to nothing but just resentment, sadness, I say, okay, Massimo, I don't want to have this thought. I don't want to think this stuff. It doesn't do good to me. So I have a kind of a word, a guardian, a concierge, that a person at the door there, and when a thought comes, or an emotion comes, he asks, does this thought or emotion do good to me, Massimo, and the people near to me, or not? If I get to know this thought, I don't want to think it, because it doesn't do good to me. And one would say, well, what is the gain? Well, the gain is enormous. First, when I go out, my mind is ready to see the beautiful things that the day has prepared for me. Because maybe there is a person here that can help me, or I can help her. But if I think about this rubbish, I will never see her. I will never see him. I will never see something that is important because I'm there thinking about this rubbish. Instead, if in my mind I've got the right thoughts that they do good to me and people near to me, man, then when I go out, I'm open. Not only I'm open, but I'm ready to get the nice things in and give the nice things out. Let's say that last night I overeat and my diet is gone off the cliff. Well, okay, I mess up. Okay, but today is a new day. I have to decide, do I want to keep thinking about the fact that I failed? Or do I want to think about or do I want to see what kind of beautiful surprises I will have in this day? Well, the first thought is detrimental to my life. If I keep thinking about the fact that I failed, I will keep failing because maybe there is a person there that can help me, but I will not look at him, I will not look at her, because I'm there looking at myself and saying, I'm a failure, I'm a total failure. If I go out and say, well, this is a new day, I'm a beautiful person. And I know that you are, because Jerry told me that you are incredibly beautiful people with a huge potential that you've got in front of you so many possibilities in your life. I changed my life when I was 50. When I was 50, I went back with students for a master in pedagogy. I had 18 years old people there aside myself. But, well, it's not an issue. I was 50. I was declared, fibromyalgic, disabled, all this rubbish. I said, I can't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't care. And these days, I have a new career in front of me. I'm 60. So you see, you are so young, And Jerry told me they are all fantastic people that have got not, it is not possible to imagine how many options your life presents to each one of you. But to get to see these options, you have to have your mind clear. You have to have this rubbish out. This is a strategy of, let's say, evil. The strategy of evil is to obfuscate, pollute our mind so that we don't see the beautiful things that we could get in our life. How can we get rid of this rubbish? We have to put this concierge, this guardian. When a thought comes, I ask myself, does this thought makes good to me and to people near to me? If I get one no, I park it out. Two no, absolutely away. I want two yes. So last night I overate, for example, when was that? Yes, was last night. Last night I got a bit stressed out because I was studying something that was at my edge about this chat GPT. I'm sure you all have. So I was looking into the mathematics of this stuff, and it got a bit complicated and got me stressed. It was around 10:30 in the night. I said, I need some sugar because I felt my brain was too weak, and I didn't have anything, So I said, I get some bread with olive oil and salt. And I started eating this stuff while I was thinking. So this is the worst thing you can do, because you eat your thoughts. If I'm stressed, I don't eat bread, I eat stress. When you eat something, when you eat something, you eat the thoughts that you have in that moment. If I'm stressed out and I eat something, I don't eat carbohydrates, I'm eating stress. So there is no way that nothing will satisfy me. So this morning I woke up and was very upset at the beginning. I said, well, this was so stupid. I ate all this stuff. And so I did, I said, I have to decide what I do. I said, okay, I will go to the gym and talk to people and at the same time exercise. And maybe there is some young person that needs me. So I went there. I was so happy because there were two young people and they were very happy that I explained them some strategies for exercising. And then I had a beautiful workout. And I was recharged with this workout. And then I said, okay. I said, yesterday, today is Wednesday. Yesterday was Tuesday. And yesterday I spent 4 hours walking in the streets of Varese. Varese is a city in Italy. It's 1 hour and a half by train from me. I walked for 4 hours because I was looking for a beggar, an alcoholist that I had met 10 days ago. And I told him, look, I can help you. I can help you. I'm your brother. I will be back and I will help you. But the thing is, some people stole his phone last week. So I couldn't get in touch with him. So I went on Sunday. I spent all Sunday looking in the city for him. I couldn't find it. So I got back myself, my home Sunday night. And my friends, I had one voice and said, Massimo, you did everything possible. You couldn't find it. So there is nothing you can do it. But then I have another voice that tells me, well, you went there one day and you couldn't find it. You get back there tomorrow. Okay, so I said, okay, I get back on Monday. Monday was there again. I don't know how many kilometers I did. I had to talk to all these people, desperate people. Now I know all the Italians, Africans, Asians. I know young people, delinquents. I know all of them. And I couldn't find it. So I went back on Tuesday. Then I started talking with some alcoholists, and they told me, oh, you know, he's a bad guy. I said, well, why is that the bad guy? I said, because we wanted to help him, and he didn't succeed. I said, well, you did well, because you did your part, but I haven't done it yet. So I have to get back tomorrow. So today I got back, and I found it. And, you know, he was waiting for me. He hugged me, and we went there. I bought him a new phone. I put it in contact with the service for the alcoholist. And now we are back together, and Sunday we'll go back again. And now I have a network of people that they will help him. So Jerry asked me, he said, how is it, what is it that makes you stick to your objectives? Well, first thing is that I want them. When I have an objective, I really want to achieve that objective. If I care about the person, I don't want to abandon him. I never abandon anybody. So even if I don't want, even if I'm tired, even if I say, well, I have my right to rest, okay, I will rest, but then I will go there. If I have a business objective, there are no excuses, you know. Being tired is not an excuse. Having failed once is not an excuse. Having been working for 1 month is not an excuse. If we want something, my friends, then we have to work for it. Duty. This thing is something that if we repeat to ourselves, if I say, I must do it, you know. For example, sometimes I can't run so long as I want. So I start saying, okay, I will run only another 100 meters. Then I get there and say, okay, only another 100 meters. So I get there, then I say, only another 100 meters. Because in this way, it looks not so far. So when we have an objective, as Jerry said, if we want to go to the top of Everest, we can't target the top of Everest directly. We have first to decide where is the base camp, then camp 1, camp 2. We don't look at the top. We start looking only at the base camp. Otherwise, the top is horrifying. We say, well, I will never get there. Right, I will never get there at once. So we define the end objective, and then we walk back by defining objectives that are less and less intimidating. And we target the first objective. And we don't think about after. We just say, I just have to arrive at the base camp. I don't care about the after. I don't want to think. Because if I think, this will not do good to me. I just think about my first stage. Once I get there, we'll talk about. So this is a bit, it is a bit, it works for me. But this thing of going back to your body, go down from your mind into your body, go out of your heart in people, simple people, people that you don't know, and put a guard in your thoughts. Does this type of thoughts makes good to me and to people near to me or not? If it is not, leave it. This will destroy our life. Sorry if I've been so long. I haven't realized I was so long. My excuses and apologies.
Max, thank you so much for this amazing presentation. When you saw me laughing, I was laughing for something. I remember a story that you told me when you're stress eating and you're like you had this zone bars, you know, like with also many vitamins. And one time he told me that he ate like while he was calculating like 30 of them, and then like he had to run like 40 kilometers just to get all the vitamins out. So I also remembering that was so funny. But thank you so much. I really feel like that's the point. Like I didn't know what you were gonna talk about, but I tried to get in as much as I could, and I felt like it's a lot of commonalities on the most successful people here and yourself, and this idea that number one, you want something for real, and not want it for just 1 week. Number two, there is no substitute for experience or hard work. And number three, persistency. I think we can kind of like summarize it a little bit that way, because like while everybody will have different frames, different strategies, different a way you do it, then everybody's different, but like everybody has, like, you need to find something that works for you in that sense. The innate ability I think you have compared to anybody else, though, is this thing to be able to, I mean, a lot of people say it, but really helping people. And it's like, whether you are doing it in one way, like the alcoholic person example, this I told you before, say it in the call. It's so visceral, it's so specific, and it's like, probably out of 100 people, 98 wouldn't do it. So this is why I said we are experiencing today like an outlier, somebody different. But with this being said, this is a good way for other people to really, I said with Max before, I said, if we can change one person in here and see a different perspective, I have done my job, because obviously it's like, I try to do it, but we always do this with the idea to top the other. And like, this one is not going to be one easy to top. Like this round call, I will say, how can I top this? And it's like, this is not going to be an easy one. Now, a few things I wanted to say. Number one, Max, if you guys, girls of you, like are in Switzerland or come in Switzerland, he has you can briefly, if you want, talk about it, like if you want later. It's like a group of people that they help other people, and like they walk together and all that stuff, like which is a theory from, I think it's called Bruno Gröning, right, which is like some sort of healer, like and you do these groups, and I know like these things are totally free, are charity things. We've been speaking with Max, and we say, if they see value, where in Switzerland do they do it, like Max, in Davos, right, or where in Switzerland?
Okay, but this teaching of Bruno Gröning is worldwide, has received also from the United Nations a special prize. Mm-hmm. It is free. It is a teaching that you can use to heal your mind and body. You can go brunogroeninger.org on the internet. There are channels in 30 languages, and it's amazing. This is something you can use also to help yourself if there is something that you cannot really win inside your body or your mind.
Perfect. The second thing we said, like if this was gonna get any interest at all, we might think about introducing real mindset work support. Like we know, like I already do check-in. We have Dori here, my fantastic coach, and we don't have Jennifer, but also Jennifer, she would be here. We do a lot of support, problem identification for the education part. I think I maybe not even on purpose, I do a lot of mindset, but Max is really strategically skilled on that. So we might think about introducing this part of that for people that really struggle. You know, there is a few that really struggle getting out their own mind, and I feel like this is something we can also include inside the program. Now, before we go, I would like all of you to ask questions to Massimo, because like I said, provided provided your time can hold, like I'm sure there is going to be people with questions specifically. Please unmute yourself or raise your hand. We don't have so many people here, so we definitely have time to ask a list of your questions. Anybody has anything to ask him specifically? Do it now. Don't text me later and tell me, oh, I think okay, go ahead.
The story that you mentioned about the alcoholic man in the street, Massimo, it's really triggers something on me, because I tend to have an effect when I walk around to attract people like that. And I think it's because they feel like I'm open to listen. And I try to listen as much as possible, also because I'm interested in, because everybody has a story, and I love that about meeting other people. And I meet a lot of other people because I share this experience with you, that it enriches your life, and that the more you spread joy and interest, the more you get back. But I've also had experiences that I got connected to people who were like emotional vampires, who didn't let go and who just kept, draining me dry. Did you ever have that experience that you felt like, now how do I get away from this without, well, maybe it's not necessarily without feeling guilty, but because the point is to just get away from it sometimes. How do you do that? And because I feel really guilty, and I think they feel that.
Yeah, this is a beautiful question. Thank you so much, Marieke. This is a beautiful question. I mean, even through the screen, I can see Chokara. even through the screen, I can see you have a kind of solar light coming out. I understand people will come to you because you look really an open person, not dogmatic. And personally, I have no hesitation to cut when I see that the person, not that the person is bad or is trying to take advantage of me. When I see I cannot do anything for this person. And this is the case of people that they come there to overthrow to you their rubbish bin. They come there, okay. I say, look, it's no use they become your rubbish bin. So I say, look, I have to go. I have no hesitation. Not because I'm hard. Yes, I'm also hard, but it's not because of that, but because it's useless. I lose my energy without them gaining anything. So I have no hesitation, dear Marieke. Is a question of respect for you as well, because you are as important as them. So you also have the right to be cuddled. And these people, they are not awake. People that they do this, they are not awake. You are doing nothing wrong to them. It is a person who is sleeping, and is automatic situation is jumping on you. So I have no hesitation, because in this way you are free to go and do great things to those that you can help.
Yeah, and actually, now that you mentioned this, those people drain me dry,
yeah,
emotionally, but other people, they don't.
true, true.
And I think that's what you're describing, that those people that are not benefiting at all anyway, that's why it's draining.
True.
Because if they benefit from it, you get this upwards spiral that you give, they benefit, it feels good, a positivity grows, and then it feeds you, it doesn't drain you dry. I think that's it, and you're absolutely right. I think it's hard sometimes to do that. It's not as easy as for me as it's for you, apparently, but I'm working on that.
Yeah, because make an excuse.
Working anyway.
You say, sorry, I have to go. Sorry. You say this and you go. Say, sorry, I love you, but I have to go. Say, you find your own style.
Yeah. That feels so fake, but okay, I'll try.
See, it's not by chance that I chose her as one of the coaches.
Okay.
It's special. I don't know. Like I don't like me. It's too when I met her. It's like there is something particular about this girl, and it's not the dreads. Not only the dreads. Okay. Who wants to talk? We have most of you are here. Maybe for a few exceptions, most of you are fairly been in a program for a while. I know all your stories. I know that it's about not only about fitness. Some of you struggles with a lot of things. Recently, probably I don't want to make any names, but I see 2 or 3 here. Do you want to talk? Because like I'm telling you, like you might not have another chance to talk to this guy, but very shortly. Like if you want to ask anything, if you want to ask your particular situation, if you want to ask, do not feel like is very open, like he's not it's not here to expose anything or anybody. Like do you have any question or any particular thing with you about your own particular private stuff about it's only like 9 of us here, so if you want to ask anything in particular, I'm more than happy. Go ahead, Lamis. And yes,
yes, hello. No, I ramble a lot, but I just want to say one thing first, that Dori, Marika really, really gave me a great support on that call with her. And it was really great. That's why, I mean, I want to thank her because she was going within the same line of what Massimo was suggesting or like recommending. So this is number one. Number two is I just want to ask Massimo, I agree, and I am very much also into volunteering and helping people. And sometimes, like my mom thinks that I am so empathic, so naive that, people are using me or like I'm doing much for people. And what she doesn't know is that I really like doing that. And it's not like I feel I'm obliged to do that. But then how do you, Massimo, solve the issue of, being alone or like the end of the day, for example, and when all these, these thoughts or these past bad experiences, trauma, because Jerry knows that I have like many traumas, I have PTSD and I still can't regulate myself and I cannot still get rid of this problem. So I know that it's not healthy to keep, or to wave away the bad thoughts because you have to let them out, like they say, for example, by journaling but if I cannot do that, how do you calm your mind and your crazy thoughts, your sadness, your grief, your these things, sorry for yourself, or that you can't make your achievements come true? Do you have any suggestions or idea? Because sometimes you cannot even go to bed. You keep ruminating, and then you wake up the next morning feeling bad until the maybe noon comes and you start to do something you like, and then the circle goes round and round.
Amis, that was me for a long time. That's a good question also for me.
Oh,
that was me for a very long time. So that's a good question. Hold on, something happened here. You need to unmute yourself.
yes. I'm glad that I'm not the only one here. Like sometimes I feel that I am going crazy, or why can't I heal? I'm trying to do everything that to help me get out of these, bad traumas, but I really can't. So yes, thank you. I'm starting to talk more than I should.
Thank you, Alex.
Can I say something before we end everything?
Sure.
Remember when we talked the first time and you asked me when I was the last time happy in my life, and I said like 20 years ago or more?
Yes.
Because that is like really hard for me to say right now. I got married when I was 21, and my back husband, he got into drugs. And it was really bad. So I dragged him from one rehab to the other, but he always told me he knows everything better than the others, so nothing ever helped. And I stayed with him like for 3 years before I went away with my son, because I had to be there for my son, right? And then he got homeless. He unfortunately he went to jail because he was stealing to get his drugs, the money for drugs, because I wasn't in support him any longer, because I said, if he wants to just be with that, I have to be there for my son. So my son has to come first, right? And when he got out of jail, he had to go back to his home country, and he thought he was more smart than the mafia with drugs, so he got killed. And I think since then, I think it's my fault that I did that, and I didn't stick to that I didn't help him any longer, and it's really bad. And that's why that's why I'm looking like this.
Well, it ain't your fault, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I always think maybe I should have stuck there. Maybe I should have helped Mom. I mean, I did it for 3 years, and he just did not want my help. He went back to it over and over again, and it didn't stop.
I think Massimo can probably answer better, as I think you have more experience than me. I'd love you to answer Lamis first and then Bianca, because they're very two different situations, but I think that all of them require, like, and again, Bianca, that's not for me to say, but I'm speaking for 9 people here and probably 1,000 watching a replay. That's not happened the first time to you, but like thinking like it's your fault cannot bring everybody back. I lost my dad, I was 10 years old. And part of me being who I am right now, I think that's why. And like I always say all the time, like there is not every time you can control things, but you have to be in control of what you can control. And I know that probably this discussion got triggered from what Max said before, but you are doing everything you can for your son now and for people around you. And again, it breaks my heart to see you this way, but it's definitely not your fault. And there is gonna be a better tomorrow, I think, for everybody, like with you. Sometimes things just happen for a reason, and of course, whether we like it or not, that's life. And again, they're very two different stories, but I know that very meaningful. And I don't feel I am equipped to be able to answer this, but Massimo for sure is with this way. So if you can, Massimo, probably is going to be the last two. Would you want to address these two things? Because I know they're two heavy stuff, different, but heavy in the same way. But thank you for sharing. This is very gutsy. Like I didn't even know, I didn't know this about you, but I'm happy that I could and we can, as a group, contribute to your happiness a little bit, because getting you in shape is probably the best assets you have right now. Remember, there's still your son, and you're, there is no more important thing than you, even though like you want selfishly having somebody back, but it's like there is no more important things than you. Massimo, do you care to comment?
Okay, that's very willingly, because I maybe start with Bianca. Bianca, I don't need to meet you to tell you that I'm there with you. Even if I don't even know where you live, I'm there with you. You're not alone, you see. We are the same thing, though we have different bodies, but inside we are made of the same thing. And when we use our hearts, we can connect wherever we are. So I felt your pain. I feel this dilemma you have. And fortunately, very fortunately, now that I'm 60, I know that the answer to your dilemma is you have no guilt. But only now I know it. I'm 60. When I was 50, I still didn't know this. And what I can tell you, dear Bianca, my friend, my sister, my little sister, Bianca, I don't know how you call what you've got really deep inside. And I don't even know if you give it a name, maybe you are Christian, whatever, I don't know. But I tell you because now I know that I'm 60, that the very thing of which we are part of, this very thing, which is really our heart, is really our love. That very thing, whatever you do wrong in this life, has already forgiven you. Has already forgiven you. You know, there is a fantastic story that was was told by Jesus. Jesus is a master of the old times. In Western countries, is called Christ. Is considered a god, but he was an historical person. He said there was a father that had two sons. This was a very beautiful home. And one of the two sons said, "Father, give me everything that expects me because I want to leave this home and go away and do my own life." The father was still alive, so he had to sell part of his estate to give the son his part. The son left the house. He went and with prostitutes, games, players, and wasted the whole money. And then he ended up with pigs. So then he said, well, even servants live a better life with my father than myself with the pigs. So he said, I will go back to my father and ask him forgiveness. Now, what does this father do? Well, some people would say, well, the right father would say, no, because now you have spoiled all my fortunes. You don't deserve to be back in the house. Or some other people more tender would say, well, he should be as an educator and say, well, son, if you reflect on your mistakes, you promise that you will make never such a mistake again, I will accept you back. No, the real father of the Jesus story doesn't do either of these things. As soon as he sees his son from far coming, he rushes to organize a feast. He doesn't even ask his son where he was. He doesn't even ask him to recognize that he made a mistake. The only thing for this father, the only important thing, is that we get back to him. So the divine, what we call the divine, the religions give him different names. The divine that you've got inside is the love that you have shown in this meeting, Bianca. This love made you cry. This love is what we are made of. This love, the only thing that interests this love are not the mistakes we make, is that we get back to our heart. And you are completely back to your heart. Your ex-husband is back in the place where we come from. In that place, there is no guilty. There is no responsibility. The only thing is to stay together. God has already forgiven you for everything, even if you have done something wrong. I don't know if you've done something wrong, probably not, because, you know, Bianca, there are so many things that we can't do it. In retrospective, we think we could have done that, but we couldn't. We could not. Because now you are a different person, you have different powers. Of course, with the person that you are today, you could have done something, but in that time, you were the person that you were. If things they went that way, it means you couldn't possibly do it. Nobody can know the future. If somebody had told you, well, your husband will die if you don't do it, you would have done it. But you couldn't possibly know. You couldn't possibly know it in advance, you know. So how could you possibly guess the future? You've done what you could have done. And of course, now they are much more stronger. You have succeeded in raising your son. You feel more responsibility, but because you know things already. This is my humble opinion. What I can tell you is love, divinity, God. The only thing that interests to God is that we get back to Him. That means that we live a life with our heart. This alcoholist I met in Varese, he told me, Massimo, I was recruited by the army of the Salvador when I was 14. I killed a man when I was 17. And from the very day, I asked God to forgive me. I told him, God has already forgiven you 100,000 times. He has already forgiven you 100,000 times. Because God is not a man. And your heart is not a normal heart. He wants that we go forward, that we leave the baggage behind and take the good things we've got in our heart to do good. Sorry if I was so long and if I had the presumption to tell you something, but only because I learned myself these things so late in my life. As I said, I've learned them in the last few years. In the past, I didn't know these things. So I share with you what I've learned very recently, and I saw it working. I hope this will help you, Bianca. You will be in our heart anyhow. I don't know if I can, Jerry, still say something to Lamis? I can't hear you, Jerry.
Yes, I'd love, like, we also, yeah, that's also my answer for me, not only for her. So how do you deal with self-rumination, like not be able to express yourself, and or maybe like, you know, when you're deep in your soul alone and like, you know, like you have all these negative things and you feel maybe you're not worth or whatever. Like that was me for a very long time. Very different now, but like some of us still come back this thing. So I think Lamis, that was the main questions. How do you deal with those times that you're alone and you're like, you have these thoughts? How do you make them go away, if anything?
Well, Lamis, dear friend. Okay, the very first thing will make you laugh, though, I will tell you. I would start doing the stairs in your buildings. I saw some tall buildings in the picture, and sometimes in the night, I feel that I had some negative emotions. You know what I did? I said, I want to do 500 meters gap. So I would go out and I would do 40 times up and down the stairs, because in that way I will have the phones with the music. So I'm doing some exercise. So I'm downloading this tension in my body. I'm there in a safe place because I'm on the stairs of the building. Of course, it's so boring, but at the same time, I'm doing something good for my body. And I go up and down and I listen either to some good music or to me. To me, it's very effective if I listen to audiobooks that they talk about things that they catch me. For example, one book that was so important to me is Eric from The Art of Loving. I had these audio cassettes. I listened to them 100 times because I understood they were so deep. And I said, I want to become as him. He was a great man, you know. And so you can take any audiobooks that is inspirational for you, that, you know, at the same time you're doing exercise, at the same time you're doing something good for your self-development, and you are keeping away the bad thoughts. This what helps me. But the thing that helps me more, but many times I don't have it, it is good friends. Good friends means you go there to some people that you feel well with, but you don't talk about the things they are ruminating about. You just let them talk and you listen to them. this will distract you. This will distract you. But you have to have these good friends. Here, I don't have them in the scene. I don't know what is your situation. This is the only two things I can say without knowing your background. Sorry if I was so simple.
I never saw Lami smiling so much, so I think that that's a good advice.
Yeah,
that's
thank
amazing.
you. Thank you.
Is there anybody else want to say anything before we go? Just want to make sure that we respect everybody's time. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Come on, if you want to talk, it's now. Otherwise, of course, it might be another time, but sounds like it's not. It sounds like you guys got value from this. It was different, as I knew it was going to be different. I know that somebody's going to be emotional. I know that somebody's going to open up a lot more. We will talk with Massimo if it was definitely helpful. So if anybody like this style of support, it's something that we can, like I said, if you are, depends where you are, you can self-study this stuff. By the way, this is also something like I'll talk to you more about in the future. The greatest mentors, the greatest supporter, usually are the one that, like, those things is like you find that everywhere. You find it in YouTube. You find, like, it's about mastering. It's not about reading 700 books. I said it before. It's about mastering or doing 700 kicks in karate. It's about mastering one kick 700 times, which is what we lack: practice. We lack support. We lack consistency. Max, thank you so much for your time. We don't get back time. A lot of people are concerned nowadays about money, but we can get back money, we know, but we cannot get back time. And we must live good. And I believe that this is one thing I wanted to say also to Bianca, is like, it's like there's only one time. I mean, you don't get that back. Feeling guilt is not going to help you in the future, in a sense, like we don't know how much time we have. We know that we can feel good right now. Yeah. So it's like, I think that's perspective for everybody. I don't know how much, I'm extremely grateful to have had you all here, and Massimo, of course. Thank you is not nearly as enough. I know that. Again, if you want this kind of support, like, be vocal about it. Like, if you need, like, tag, let me know if it was useful. Comment in the replay. Let me know if you would find useful to talk to Max. Because we do have that, of course, option going on in the future as well, depending how you want to do it. And of course, mostly is conserving his time, as he's a busy guy. Even though he's able to make things happen, he's a busy guy, as we all are. Again, if you don't have anything to add, thank you so much. This was really different. It was really cool, and it's going to be hard for me to top this thing for sure. But as always, I'm always going to try. So thank you so much. And again, much love to you all. I know that this was helpful, at least for some. Therefore, all the best. Massimo, thank you so much. We'll chat later down the line. Thank you all for being here. And let me know if you need help. All the best, and I wish you an amazing evening. Bye-bye.